was slightly agitated because I didn't sleep very well last night.
Why? What do you think? What's happening?
No, nothing. I mean, no specific reason, although I did dream that I got vaccinated and that it didn't work.
Oh,
so maybe I was woken up out of that. Well, I dreamt that they had put the vaccination, the needle had gone into my arm,
right,
but only half of the vial had gone in,
right,
and they'd taken the needle out, and the liquid was spraying all over, like me, all over the floor, and then no one seemed to know how to cope with it, what to do. Yeah. So they couldn't work out whether they should revaccinate me just half a vial, whether they should just discount that one and just do the whole thing all over again.
Oh my God!
It was very anxious making, actually, just because nobody knew what the protocol was, and that I found really scary.
Well, that's a global problem.
Well, precisely. I mean, I was dreaming about the world, clearly.
There's no protocol. Anyway. What is the protocol there? Are you getting them? How's it working?
So at the moment, they are, as quickly as they can, vaccinating over 90s and over 80s.
Right.
And key workers and healthcare workers.
Right.
So my father has had his vaccination. He's 81. So that's
good.
Feels like a huge relief. He's had his first dose.
That's good.
So that's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know when everybody, we just all wait our turn, I think.
Well, I think that's I think that's causing me the most anxiety, is knowing it's out there and that they can't seem to figure out a way to get it to everybody, efficiently and quickly. And we have to wait for months, just living in the same system, knowing that we could get some, relief. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I know. I think Canada seem to be ready to get everyone vaccinated, come summer.
Believe me, I'm ready to move, but I can't even run away now. We're not even allowed to run away anymore.
I know. It's like Justin Trudeau, Jacinda Ardern. Like, where do we go?
I know. It's crazy, man.
I know.
Where are you? You're in the UK?
I'm in the UK. Yeah. South coast. We live on the south coast of England. So we are really lucky that we're near the ocean. We have some nice outdoor space. And we're good. We're all right. Yeah.
How many kids are with you? How many do you have there?
I have 3.
And they're all 3 at home?
Yes.
Are they going nuts?
Well, no, they're not. They're not actually. They're not too bad. I mean, my daughter is 20, so she's actually enormously helpful around the house. And then I have a 17-year-old son, just turned 17. So he's all excited because in England, you can't start to learn how to drive until you're 17. So that's now.
Right.
So that, although he won't be able to have an instructor, it'll just be him and my husband on, quiet roads. Driving around. And then there's the 7-year-old who just thinks that it's so great that everyone's just around all the time. I mean, he just he's got all these people to do drumming and Lego with him. I mean, he couldn't be more thrilled.
Wait, you were in the pandemic movie. What was
I sure was. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. Then it doesn't end well for you.
No, it doesn't end well for me at all. But I did have quite a lot of fun doing Contagion, and particularly that moment, because I get slung into a ditch in a body bag, which of course I had to hold my breath because it's like a plastic body bag. You can see me through, and I couldn't help but, almost every take, I'd open one eye and just say, "Does my bum look big in this?"
Yeah.
Or I'd say, "Do I look thin?" Just stupid, typically vain nonsense crap. Yeah, but I was in Contagion, which, I mean, I have to be completely honest with you. When COVID really hit, I was wearing a mask way before. I was in Philadelphia when we went into lockdown. I was doing a show for HBO, and people were staring at me funny because I was right away. I was like, "It's coming, people!" And I was walking, down the street and in the grocery store with my mask on, and people were 1,000% looking at me like I was quite strange.
It's so weird, that the aversion and the weird resistance to it. I mean, people in Asia have been wearing them since SARS. I mean, I used to see people on the plane, Asian people mostly, wearing masks, thinking like, "What's up with that?" And now it's like, now everybody's got to do it. I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I don't either. The only problem I have with it is that I just feel really sad that for a whole generation, my 7-year-old's generation and even younger, those children are going to grow up remembering wearing masks to nursery school or kindergarten, you know,
and
into shops. I mean, that's what makes me sad, not touching door handles.
Right. And they're also
not hugging their friends, you know.
Losing a year of, or however long this is going to take. I don't have children, so I imagine it must be very difficult to know that these formative years, whatever part of their life they're in, are going to be sort of, you know, lost.
Yeah. That's right. And I think particularly for, you know, young people in their early 20s, I think for those individuals who, you know, have been hearing their parents say for years, these are the best years of your life, you know, right. Going off to colleges and, you know, really exploring their true selves. And suddenly, you know, they're back at home with mum and dad. And, you know, it is sad. It's very sad. And I think it's going to be hard confidence-wise for those young people. And that's hard. That's a worry. Very, very hard, but it will continue to, I think, in coming out the other side, in regaining confidence and, you know, connecting with their true selves again. I think that will take time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I find that I'm just, I'm 57, and I think that this isolation business has really helped me in connecting with my true self. It's not great, but...
Well, I don't like connecting with the side of myself that has become obsessed with sweeping the kitchen floor. Like, what is that about?
It's about having a little bit of control, Kate, in a world that's out of control.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, but I like the fact that, you know, it's just me that does it because I'm the one that can do it the fastest.
And probably the best, right? You're the best at it?
I don't know, actually. My 17-year-old is a pretty good floor sweeper. I've got to be honest. Competition going on.
Well, at least you're having a good time. I mean,
yeah.
Like, I just realized when I was looking at stuff about you that you're doing this arc with Cameron. You're in this Avatar movie, right? This new one. Like, you know, you're back with that guy. You know, at this point. The reason I bring it up is because he had me come down there to audition for something, to look at me for something. I had to go down there to that city he built, the Avatar city. And
Manhattan
it was
Beach, yeah.
Right. But it was the weirdest thing. It's like, you know, I walk in and he's like, well, we've got actors working here all the time, just, you know, flying around and stuff. So if you want to just come into a set and we'll just do it. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? So, like, have you spent time down there? And is he making like what, 20 movies at once? What's happening?
I to be honest, I slightly lost track of how many he is making at once. I did two at once in tandem with him, and all of my work was actually in 2018, but they're still shooting it. They're shooting the live action portion of it now, and obviously they were held up because of COVID, etc. But it was just, you know, you're right. It's an extraordinary experience. You know, you sort of go into this what feels like a huge souped up aircraft hangar where anything is possible. You want to fly today? You want to get on an elu? You want to do some spear fighting underwater? Sure, okay, yeah, we'll do that. You know, it's like, but it was wonderful for me just to be part of something that's such a well-oiled machine with great people, you know, incredible technicians and artists, and to be part of such a fantastic story. You know,
were you doing a lot of underwater work?
Yeah, most of my work was underwater. Yeah, not just on the water or in it, but under it. And I loved all of that. I worked with some extraordinary performers who are Cirque du Soleil water performers who did a lot of the doubling work underwater. So to be honest, I spent a lot more time with those people actually than some of the actors. And it was just incredible. I mean, just the training and the whole process. And
he's got that, like, he's got like a little museum set up where he's got the Titanic down there.
Yeah, he has, which I didn't get to go into. My husband and my children were like, oh, wow, Mum, we saw your dress from the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that still exists? I'm like, oh, I was convinced I trashed that.
Yeah, he's got the boat and everything.
Yeah. There's a whole visual archive down there, which is apparently quite spectacular.
What was it like, you know, just hooking up with that guy again, though? I mean, that's like, how many years is that? I mean, the intensity of whatever you guys went through when you were a kid, it must be either post-traumatic or exciting, or at the very least emotional.
It was really, you know, it was amazing to be collaborating with Jim again, because, you know, we're both older, so much time has gone by. But also with Avatar, he's got a lot more time to make that piece. than he ever had with Titanic. Yeah, clearly, obviously, still filming 2.5 years later. Yeah, years later. And so I think, and I think there's just a process that he's entered into, a rhythm that is just, it's just really quite relaxed. And also because he's so intricately connected with that entire world because he created it.
Right.
That there's a sort of a confidence in him that sort of breeds collaboration and conversation. And it was great. It was a really, I remember walking into the room on the sort of first day of rehearsal, and lots of actors were there, all sat around a table. And I was quite nervous because I thought, well, most of them had been in the first one, 10 years ago, and all known each other forever. So I walk into the room and Jim said, I just need to warn you before we go any further. We've all drunk the Kool-Aid, so you will be speaking Nutvi, within the next half an hour. And I thought, I wonder, what does he quite sort of mean by that? But there's a proper immersive experience to be had there, and it was quite fascinating, and I loved being part of it. It was really very special time.
Well, did you know, has he changed a lot? I mean, I don't know what the process was with Titanic, and I know you were so much younger, but he struck me when I met with him. It was almost surreal because I couldn't believe I was meeting with him. But he seems very intense, but very accessible. But did you find did you guys fall into a groove, or has he changed? Yeah,
he's definitely changed. But I think what you just said is really interesting. Very intense but accessible. Absolutely. He's like a scientist. Jim is
Right.
I've always said, if ever there was a global crisis, there is one person I'd want to be with, and that's Jim Cameron. And that remains the case. Where is he now? But that remains the case. He just
to make you feel better, or do you think he's got some magic?
He has some magic, or he always knows what to do. But what I will definitely say is that, and this was a true change that I saw in him that made me laugh and made him laugh as well. He would never admit when he'd gotten something wrong. Oh. And that's completely changed. So on Avatar, we were doing this water work, and they were trying to build quite a complicated sort of lowering floating bridge structure for the camera. And Jim was like, no, it needs to be like this. Trust me, I've done this 1,000 times before. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And then it 100% didn't work. And then and he very quickly was like, okay, well, that blows. My bad. And then he sort of rejigged it and moved on. But that was definitely a new character trait. I was like, I'll get you admitting that you had an idea that didn't work. Yeah, it was really cool. Well,
you would think, you work on something for 10 years that you would be humbled by attempts that didn't quite pan out. But how old were you when you did Titanic?
I turned 21 on that shoot, and Leo turned 22, and I'm now 45 and he's 46.
I interviewed him with Brad Pitt. It was the two of them. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
And they had just come out of some other event, and they were all electric, so two major movie stars being electric, and I'm just sitting there trying to get my my recorder to work. But Leo really brought up, he said that he knew the exact day and time that his life changed, because of Titanic. He said that he remembered the day he walked out of his house to go to the store, and there was a satellite truck there, ready to film. Oh my
God. Yeah.
But you seem, that was a moment for you where you just bailed on it. But you knew that could happen.
Well, I think I mean, when you say bailed on it, it's really funny. I think I went into self-protective mode right away, because the similar thing happened to me, although it wasn't a satellite truck. It was just, cars and cars full of, British tabloid photographers who were photographing me, going and buying a pint of milk and a newspaper.
Right.
And that was just weird. I mean, it was like night and day from, one day to the next. And also I was subjected to quite a lot of sort of personal physical scrutiny, and I was criticized quite a lot. The British press were actually quite unkind to me. And I felt quite bullied, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, okay, well, this is horrible, and I hope it passes. And it did, and it did definitely pass. But it also made me realize that if that was what being famous was, I was not ready to be famous. Thank you. No, definitely not. So, and also the other thing too was that because I was so young, it's all very well being in a huge, great film and being Oscar nominated and so blessed and all of those things that I was saying and saying and saying over and over again. But I was still learning how to act. I'd only been doing it since I was 17. And so I still felt like I wasn't really ready to do lots of big Hollywood jobs. It was a huge responsibility. I didn't want